What's it like being on a young team? You go from being from a mature team to now kind of described as young. What's that transition like for somebody who isn't part of the young group?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Usually, like 2 years ago and 3 years ago, I was listening to Carl Nassib and Sickles and Schwann and all of them and taking in all their information. But now I got to do that to the other guys, like Etor and Shane and Daniel Joseph and all of them. So it's kind of just switching roles. But I learned a lot from those guys, so it was good.
Is there frustration sometimes when you had guys who knew what they were doing and now there's the growing process again?
No, because it was like the same thing for us when I was my first spring and my first camp and all that. I had to get the little things down and really focus and hone in on the plays just like these guys do. So it's just like a rotation that happens every 2 or 3 years. It's normal.
Who are some of the guys inside, the tackles, younger guys that might have impressed you so far? Who have you seen grown at least?
Definitely Antonio, Sheldon, and Fred. Fred's been killing it. He's a big guy. I think he's like 317 pounds now. So Spence always talks about how he's so heavy he shouldn't even be blocked or anything because how big and strong he is. And Antonio's definitely worked on his speed and his power a lot. Those guys definitely have been stepping up. I think they'll see the field this year.
Any big play one of them made either today or recently?
I would say it's one-on-ones. Fred's been killing it in the one-on-ones. He's been bull rushing guys. He's been getting around them. He's been using his strength, so he's been doing good.
What's a top play, maybe a defensive lineman, one of you guys made this spring?
Actually, the other day, Joe Dumont, who's switched to defensive end, he's not used to it yet, but this one play, he surprised us. He did a double-hand swipe on one of our tackles and got right by him and sacked the quarterback, and we all went crazy because it's Joe. Like, he was a linebacker, and now he's the end, so it was just cool seeing him transition like that and make a big play.
Talking with some of your offensive linemen this spring, they said they think this year can kind of maybe be a turning point for them as a strength. What have you seen that maybe kind of jives with what they're saying?
Definitely the experience because none of those guys are freshmen or redshirt freshmen or anything, so they're older and they're a mature group, and even though they had to switch around a lot last year, they're definitely good this year. They stepped up a lot.
Who's impressed you the most so far this offseason? Who's kind of been the breakout of the spring so far?
Just overall?
Yeah, overall.
Probably KJ. He's been all over you guys. You've heard about it. He's been doing well. Sometimes the quarterback does get sacked, but on his big touchdowns, but Franklin let the play go. So I'll give him credit. He's getting by the D-backs and making big plays. So it'll be cool to see what he does this year.
Is it just like an every practice kind of thing with him?
Yeah, it's been most. Maybe just one or two. He hasn't made a touchdown or had a big play. I don't think he has too many touchdowns. No one really has more than, I think, 3 or 4. But he's been showing up every practice, which is awesome.
What's impressed you about Miles? I mean, you guys, I'm sure, got so used to seeing Saquon do his thing. What's Miles done well?
Well, Saquon was more of the power and shiftiness, but with Miles, like I said, it's definitely his speed. Okay. He'll beat you to the spot. He'll beat you around the edge. He'll run right by you. So it's definitely his speed. And then obviously we can't tackle him right now, but he definitely has some power in him. So it'll be different when you can actually tackle him.
2 more. After all the offseason workouts and all the practices, just how much are you looking forward to blue-white and getting back out in Beaver Stadium and playing in front of the fans?
I mean, it's like the one thing you look forward to in the offseason just because it's cool coming out of the tunnel and being in front of all those people. It's more laid back, obviously. It's not a real game, but it's still cool being out there, especially for the first-year guys and the guys who haven't played yet on Beaver Stadium. So I remember going out there that first time. It was awesome.
Do you give advice to those guys, or do you just let them soak it in without any sort of expectations?
I mean, I probably will give advice to some of the guys. It's definitely not – I'll tell them it's not as serious as an actual game. You're not going to have millions of people watching and 107,000. So I'll tell them try not to be nervous. It's not a big deal. It's just pretty much like a practice in front of a lot of people.